Wagwan people, it's your boy Vlad Forget, and we're back again with another video, this time specifically on Marvel Rivals. We're going to be talking about the role queue situation, specifically about people's thoughts about it in the official Reddit. We're going to be taking a look at some of the posts that have come up and have been sort of popularized in the last couple of months. And also I'm just going to give my personal view on what I think Netease should do in the meantime. So we got the first one here. It's called Role Queue is not needed and is bad for the game. Pretty self-explanatory. So he says to fix the DPS player problem, all the devs have to do is add more tanks and supports that have a massive fanbase and have to design fun and unique abilities for them. And the team-ups help with this problem a lot too. Okay, I'm not sure how. Role Queue is not the solution for this problem. I think so too. It creates more problems than it solves. No one wants 10-minute queue times, no one wants 4 different leaderboards for each region, no one wants tight restrictions, no one wants there to be only one way to create a team. I think that's also okay. Also, there can't be open queue and role queue at the same time. I kind of disagree with that. There must be one queue, and the better option is open queue. Also, it's not like 2-2-2 is the only way to win. You can win with so many comps, like even 1-4-1 or 0-4-2, or at least I can win. What are you trying to insinuate here? Open queue has one negative, role queue has many negatives. And then he has a poll here, which kind of contradicts what he said, because, I mean, most people voted role queue. I don't want a role queue, by the way, if you didn't realize already. The first response coming from a guy called Baxter the Sneeko person. I want what most people in here have been proposing, which is just a cap on the amount of players per role each game. You should be capped to 3 of a role in a team at a time. I think being fully open will just end up with too many people gravitating towards duelists. Also, maybe a hot take that will probably catch me some downvotes, but people need to stop being babies and learn how to play at least one character that isn't a pure DPS. It'll make the game more fun for everyone, including those people, probably. Don't get me wrong, I love playing duelists in the beta, but other characters can be as equally fun if you chill out and give them a chance instead of snorting some crushed up Adderall and blitzing down the map into your death over and over. I was consistently, Jesus Christ, my English, out-damaging many DPS teammates during the beta as Adam Warlock. I promise you, you can heal, tank, support, and still get kills. Two very contrasting points here, and I kind of like the idea that the both of them are going for. I don't want a role queue. And the other guy mentions that in his follow-up post, but I'm not going to pay attention to that. A role cap is a better idea, in all honesty, because I just think there should be a decent amount of freedom when you have just a role cap on 3 per role in a team. I think the combinations could be great, alright? I really appreciate these thoughts, and I'm gonna check out another post in just a second. Alright, next post. No role queue is bad for solos. This is from the Whelp, and this was from 24 days ago. And it says, when 5 duelists lock in, it's impossible to get a good team composition. It's bizarre to me that even while getting demolished in ranked, people won't switch. Half dozen ranked games in, and I still haven't been able to play DPS because no one will play tank or heals. Not an enjoyable experience. Hope they aren't serious about the no role queue ever statement. Again, you guys know my view on this. I don't want a restrictive role queue implemented into the game. I'd rather a role cap like the last guy mentioned. Apparent Mendacity, the first comment says, role queue is a clumsy and lazy solution. I'm really glad they're not doing it. To find the correct solution, you first have to ask yourself, why do you care that your team doesn't have a good composition? Your answer is probably because then we'll probably lose. Okay, next question. Why do you care whether you win or lose? It's normal to either win or lose when playing games. Again, your answer is probably, but this is ranked. Losing a match loses me rank points. And this here is the solution. Most people don't actually care about team comp or even winning or losing. What they actually care about is not losing rank points because they want to rank up. So the solution isn't to enforce some kind of ideal team comp. The solution is to rework how rank points are awarded at the end of a game. If there's a way for the game to guarantee that you as the lone healer would gain rank points at the end of the match no matter win or lose, why would you care what the team comp is? You'll happily let the other 5 moron duelists do whatever the fuck they want because you're guaranteed your rank points at the end of the match. Makes for a less toxic environment too. And that's a very interesting take. I'm not going to take anything away from apparent mendacity. Alright, that's a pretty cool one. And he's a strategist user too. He uses Rocket. That's a pretty cool one. I never thought I'd see that today. We're going to go ahead and look at some of the other ones here. There are other comments on this, and it says, as a solo strategist player, I don't want role queue. Role queue forces a predetermined meta set by the developer. I'd much rather players experiment. For instance, I think 2-2-2 is boring. So do I. I'd much rather play 1-3-2 or 1-2-3. And sometimes you get a 1-4-1 where all the DPS pop off and you destroy the opposing team's 2-2-2. I don't want to play a game where such diversity isn't allowed to exist. And honestly, if you're stuck under Platinum, it's not because of your teammates. I tend to disagree with that statement at the very end, because Bronze is hell right now. I know there are people suffering down there. They're trying to rank up. Alright, next one! Alright, so third and final post for today, we're going to be checking out equivalent rub 8124, what a weird name. Role queue is inevitable, otherwise is cope.
Do you want to know why I use a knife?
Devs can say they won't add role queue and that they won't need it, but we all know that we all know how that will go. I played the beta and all the games we won was because the roles were distributed evenly. New players' teams are gonna get steamrolled by Overwatch veterans. When your friend group wants to play all DPS and they won't acknowledge the other roles, it's just gonna suck for the team. I guess his English failed him, just like mine. Distributed teams are going to crush those teams that aren't. Okay, I'm guessing he said those. Also, open queue isn't more freedom. Playing a DPS will be impossible because at least 60% of your team wants to play DPS. And of course that will happen when DPS role is half the cast. At least role queue solidifies the role you want. Open queue will just give you the idea that you do, but if you don't switch, you will lose the game. Also to point out, the beta was mostly on diehard fans. Everyone I know who was in the beta was previously a Overwatch diehard. So it makes sense why most games aren't or were organized, but now that the game is going to be open to everyone, then people will not do that, and the stats are going to be a little different. This is just a silly cope from the devs. Marvel Rivals will not be the exception from this problem. The problems exist because of the player, not the game, which is why those restrictions were made in Overwatch. Never seen devs have complete faith in their players. Can't wait to see what happens, and hopefully I will be proven wrong, but I genuinely don't see it. Hopefully my bad English didn't make it hard to understand, considering he had some typos in there and just bad grammar to begin with. But here's the first response, and this is the only response I'm going to take a look at because he agrees with him. He says, well said. Of course, this is from Premium Chaos. The devs back themselves in the corner. In a game with an IP as strong as Marvel, people will join the game to play as a character they love, not a specific role. The duelist role roster is full of those. Vanguards have a good selection, but also missing some notable options. Looking at you, Logan. But the strategist doesn't have those heavy hitters. It's hard to believe anyone is going to launch the game and find their all-time favorite Marvel character on the strat roster. They say the roles are hybrids and could be ignored, but at the same time they don't ignore them. They made the choice to keep a class system. They are the ones playing 2-2-2 comps with streams in exhibition matches. The way they divided the classes is bad for everyone. Bad for healers that have to do solo healing, bad for tanks that have to solo tank, bad for duelists that get pressured to swap off who they want to play because they aren't adding as much value. I have no idea why people think that this adds more freedom. It does in stacks with friends, but solo queue experience is a huge part of the player base. Imagine you want nothing more than to play Spider-Man, but you are absolute boots butt cheeks because they are the hardest character in the game, and the most popular probably, and there are 4 DPS on your team, and every match you are flamed because you should swap. It's easy to get discouraged and quit because the environment won't be safe for you to learn the character you want. I think you should go and learn the character you want in the multiple modes that are there for you to learn them. Alright? There's practice versus AI. There is the practice range. There is a quick match. Alright? You shouldn't be going into ranked matches with this. I'm gonna be very honest with you. If you're going to sit down and say, I'm going to learn a character in a ranked match, that's a stupid thing to do. And I don't know of anyone getting flamed in a quick match to begin with anyways, so stop complaining. That can still happen in role queue, but you won't have as many DPS you are competing with, you will have more utility from strategists, you will have more presence on the front, like from your vanguards. It gives you an environment where you can actually learn instead of getting dogpiled on by other people who also won't swap. Yeah, I don't really like how this sounds. I mean, again, some of the grammar is kind of off, so I had a bit of issues reading it. I mean, I'm already tired enough to have to, you know, put together what some of this stuff says. It's hard for me. But yeah, this is probably one of the worst takes out of all of them, and this is why we don't want a role queue, because look at this. If you can't give us a good reason for why the role queue should be there, because as far as I'm concerned, yes, it does in stacks with friends, right? The whole, it does get better with friends. If the experience gets better with friends, if you play better with friends, find friends to play with, people who you can play with on a schedule or something. I don't know. You don't have to, you know, play the game by yourself. There's a Discord too, an official one. Use it. But that's it from me for today. I think the whole the whole community speaking about this issue, this role queue issue, is an interesting one, because I remember when people were complaining about this in Overwatch, and it wasn't pretty sometimes, and then Blizzard kind of caved in and gave people the role queue. And I'm not gonna sit down here and say Overwatch 2 is complete garbage, but it's not Overwatch 1, which means it's pretty close to garbage. So, what did we learn today? That the role queue may or may not be a good thing if they decide to implement it in the right way. A role cap is the best way I think they can implement it, and if you disagree with that, you can go ahead and tell me down in the comments, what do you think they should do? I think that's what they should do if they want to implement some form of role queue. Also, tell me down below, what's your favorite character, what's your favorite class in the game, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully Netease sees this video and maybe take some inspiration from this. They have the Discord, they have the Reddits, they can check those out too. You guys can do the same. I'll see you guys in the next video. It's been your boy Black Baguette, and Baguette out.